Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This footage is taken from a ranked game. My account was Silver 1 at the time, and you can see most of the people in this game are either Silver 1 or low gold. In this video, what we're going to be looking at is a team composition that has increased in popularity just in the last couple days as I'm recording this video. That being a team composition that relies on playing heavily into the Sentinels trait, going 6 Sentinels, and then just playing some units behind the Sentinels. In this case, it's going to be Ezreal Caitlyn, but it's also quite popular to play Ahri and Sona behind that as well. In any case, though, we have our initial portal, as always, here in set 10. I go for the 3 champions portal. I do not get the 3 champions portal. We get the artifact anvil. I really don't like this one. It's pretty common. You get to basically pull an artifact. Basically, you pull an Ornn item at the start of the game. I don't really like this one because some of the Ornn items are quite a bit better than some of the others. So if you're able to get something like Gambler's Blade with a team composition that has a lot of attack speed at the beginning of the game, you can end up printing yourself a lot of money. Or if you get something like Eternal Winter on a really strong tank, it can be great. But you can also sometimes get stuff that just doesn't hit your comp at all. I had a game, I think yesterday as I'm recording this, that it's not going to be on YouTube because it didn't turn into anything special. But I had 2 AP options, and I had already built a board that was going to be AD. Like, I think I had Deathfire Grasp and Manamune, and I was like, these options don't do anything for me. And then the only third option was Mogul's Mail, which is, a good tank item, but it's not an amazing tank item. So it's just another big RNG factor where sometimes you can just, completely whiff on the artifact at the start of the game, and then other people have just a humongous advantage over you. Due to nothing that you can control. But anyway, getting into the game right here, I'm offered a Bruiser Tahm Kench on the first headliner. I am very content to play that. You can play pretty much anything behind that. At this point, I really don't know what I'm going to be playing behind that, but I do know that Tahm Kench will provide good frontline for Stage 2 and Stage 3. I'm content to stick with him, and then I'll try to find like a 3 or a 4 cost headliner after that. This is more than playable. If I saw a bunch of Bruisers, I could play 4 Bruiser frontline, which is very good for the early game, although not so good for the late game. I don't end up seeing a ton of Bruisers, so I don't end up going in that direction. And as of right now, I'm still not really sure what I'm going to play, but I figured, I'll just figure it out over time. Initial augment is silver. I do enjoy seeing that. I love the lower power augments. And out of these different options I'm looking through here, I was like, Blistering Strikes wouldn't be terrible, but I like the stationary support. After 7 combats, you get a training dummy that has a supporting item attached to it. Now I'm going to pull my item, and then once Deathfire Grasp, Matazane. The 2 items I just mentioned before as being ones that didn't really fit the board I was running in a previous game. But here I'm going to go ahead and I can take the Hull Crusher, which is going to be a great frontline tank item. I'll put it on Tahm Kench. It's going to give him a ton of tank stats. I believe you get 30 armor, 30 magic resistance. And if you're not standing next to anyone, you also get 600 health. That's then going to be increased by the Bruiser bonus because Bruiser units get percentage-based extra health. Bruiser 2 is not a lot, but 20% max health. So, 600 bonus health, add another 20% to that. That's another 120 health on top of that. So, yeah, that Tahm Kench is going to be very, very difficult to kill in the early game. And in fact, it's probably going to be enough to win streak through the early game here, even though, as I said, I don't really have much behind that. But I've always said I thought that strong frontline is better than like a strong itemized carry in the early game. Now, I do think that flips in the late game to a certain extent. And it is kind of like a chicken or the egg thing. I mean, you kind of want both, right? Like, you kind of want both. Yeah, in the early game, I do think that having a strong front line is a little bit better. Okay, so what am I playing behind this? Well, I had an Aphelios. I then see a Senna in the store, and I'm going to be happy to play the Senna. Senna's just a much better unit than Aphelios in this patch. I am also going to be picking up some Sentinel units, and you might be saying, well, you talked about playing a Sentinel frontline. This is not a Sentinel frontline. That's because I have to play the Tahm Kench. The Tahm is just way better at this stage of the game, but I am going to try to pick up a few Sentinel units now with the intention of switching into Sentinels down the road. So the Tahm Kench is great for right now. As I said, I want to run him through Stage 2 and Stage 3, but I do want to be setting up the opportunity to swap into Sentinels later on down the road. Another nice thing about the Sentinels is they give your team armor and magic resistance. Now, the benefit is doubled on Sentinel units, but the rest of the team does get it. So I do have the potential to play Sentinel units with Tahm Kench. Like, I can play Tahm, who gets the Bruiser bonus all by himself. By the way, look at that. Tahm Kench stands up there against the Yasuo and apparently just does not die even to that very well itemized Yasuo. Remember what I was saying about how the early game front line really, really good if you have just a super strong tank that the enemy team can't get through. But anyway, I could play two Sentinels along with the Tahm, who gets Bruiser trait on his own, and then that'll add additional armor and MR to the Tahm Kench as well. So I can kind of like work towards a Sentinel frontline for later in the game while also playing this Tahm for the time being. Behind that, as I said, I really don't have much. I have 2 out of 3 Sennas, so I'd love to find another Senna to get Senna 2-star. If there's one on the carousel, that would be pretty nice to get. And then I also have a Jinx to activate Rapid Fire trait, and then I just threw in a random Twitch because that activates Punk trait. It's not going to do much, but I don't really need more tankiness because I have the Tahm Kench. Twitch adds a little bit of extra damage, and he puts Punk trait in play for Jinx. Again, I'd be very happy to swap this out for a better unit, but for the time being, gives me a little bit of additional benefit. That time, the Tahm Kench did end up dying. First time that's happened, but I did still manage to win the fight, and I'm going to sell that Lilia so I can get to 10 gold. Rather have the K'Sante because if I'm not playing into Superfans and I'm not playing into KDA, Lilia is a worse unit. The K'Sante is actually a pretty decent tank on his own. All right, so some good stuff here. I would happily take that Echo. That would get me a better Sentinel and a cloak that could potentially be used for Gargoyle's Stoneplate, which would be a good item on the Tahm. That gets snapped up though, so that's not an option. None of the other items are really jumping out that much to me. I was like, okay. So I go ahead and take I went ahead and took the belt. By the way, I actually end up getting this 3rd pick here, even though I have 100 HP, which is really nice. But I'll take the Amumu. That'll sell for 3 gold, which is pretty nice to get a little early game Econ Accelerant. And also makes a Sunfire Cape. Great early game item. Will fall off a bit in the late game, but still, it's going to give Tahm Kench extra health, and it's going to give that passive burning effect. Also gives me a heal cut, which is always nice to have. Then I'm going to sell the Twitch because I don't really care about Punk trait. You may have noticed I was not re-rolling. Even though I had the cheap Punk re-roll, I could re-roll for 1 gold. I actually didn't care. I didn't want to spend even the 1 gold. It was more important to preserve Econ. So I just ditched the Twitch. Ditch the Twitch. That's great. And put in the Garen and the K'Sante to get Sentinel trait in play. Now, there's actually quite a few people that are re-rolling for low-cost units. There's like 3 different people that are trying to play Yasuo in this lobby, which is fantastic to see because it's going to be tough for all of them to hit the Yasuos. This person is also playing Annie. They have an Annie headliner. They have 6 Annies. The good news is they only have 10 gold, so they must have been re-rolling on low levels to only have 10 gold at this point in time. So even though they only need to find 2 more Annies, and by the way, I'm going to move out of the Jinx now they don't have Punk trait. Even though they only need to find 2 more Annies and they could duplicate it for Annie 3-star, they have kind of botched their Econ, so that's kind of a good sign for me. The one player in the lobby who does look really strong is Tinny Devil, this other person who's win streaking. They have a Yasuo with a Death's Defiance, which is really good. They also have Edgelord trait in, along with some pretty good tanks. So I'm kind of hoping I don't hit this person because I think that's the only board that could end my win streak. I think I could beat the other 2 boards without too much trouble. And I get, I guess, somewhat lucky. It was only 1/3 odds I would hit that board, but I still avoid hitting them. Definitely going to win against this board. I'm not concerned about this one. They have taken the Mogul's Mail for their artifact. As I said, that's just not really a very good item. They also put it on Vi, who is just a truly terrible unit. Unfortunately, we don't really focus the Jinx in this fight, so it's a little bit closer than it needed to be, but we still win pretty comfortably. And that's going to run the win streak out to 5 rounds. Always love getting this start at the beginning of the game. Anytime you can win streak all the way through stage 2, you just preserve that health, which is great for later on, and you get that nice Econ. All right, so another K'Sante, another Garen. That's nice there. And now we're just kind of chilling here. I'm not exactly sure what my next unit in would be. I actually do have a Heartsteel option if I could find another Heartsteel unit. So if there's like an early set, I could potentially look to put that in. If not, we'll find something else. Another true damage unit would not be bad. I probably should pick up the Yasuo just so I can get true damage trait in for the Senna, because Senna is currently holding my my only non-tank item. And yes, it is a Last Whisper. Senna, of course, deals magic damage, but she can hold AD items pretty well. Then I also get a Riven to drop here, so I could also play 8-Bit as well, though 8-Bit wouldn't really do that much for me. The Yasuo for true damage would definitely be better, but I think I didn't see that during the game. Anyway, I get a Rod and a Cloak. These are not really amazing items. By the way, Rapid Fire Sen is worth thinking about, but I just don't want to move out of the Tom. Like, what would happen if I sold the Tahm Kench to play the center right now? Then my front line would be a 1-star K'Sante, a 1-star Garen. Yeah, that would not be good. So I really can't afford to do this. I need to have replacement front line. I'm basically win streaking through having really good tank items, and so yeah, it just doesn't make sense to sell. Even though Rapid Fire Senna would not be bad, I just don't think I can make that swap. All right, so this time I do end up hitting that board, Tinny Devil, but since I last saw this person, they ended up hitting a 2-star Mordekaiser. I was like, wait, what? You have 2-star Mordekaiser already? Two-star 3-cost on 3-1 is pretty unusual for this state of the game. They also have super fans in to give Yasuo a what is that, Asterix to go along with Infinity Edge, Death's Defiance. I was like, yeah, I'm not beating this board. This board looks incredibly strong for this stage of the game, so that's not happening, and I'm going to take a loss, and kind of a bad loss. It's not even remotely close. So yeah, I'm also on 29 gold. I actually leveled I leveled to 6 there because I wanted to try to preserve win streak, but I got absolutely run over by that board. So they're clearly the strongest in the lobby, and they're the ones I'm going to have to contend with. Anyway, time for another augment. I'm happy to see it's just a gold augment. Different options here. I don't want Rich Get Richer. I'm not re-rolling. I don't want Golden Ticket. I have the option for Portable Forge, which could be a possibility, but I'm content just to take Big Grab Bag and get some more components here. I don't love this, but I think it's better than the other options. I actually get great components, and then look at this. There's an Ezreal in my store. I was like, oh, okay, and this is going to define the path for the rest of my game. So as soon as I see that, I was like, all right, we'll play the Heartsteel. This is fantastic. We're going to make AD items for Ezreal. We actually have really, really good items here. We already have the Last Whisper, so that can go on Ez. We can make an Infinity Edge, also a good item on Ezreal. Now, I really would just like some kind of mana item so he casts more frequently. Ideal would be to get either Blue Buff or Spear of Shojin. I think Blue Buff's maybe slightly better on Ezreal, but the odds of me getting 2 tiers are a little bit low here. Now, I don't really have much to do with the rod, so I'm going to reforge this. I end up getting a belt. That's not quite what I'm looking for. I could just slam Guard Breaker on Ezreal, but as I said, I really would like to get a mana item on Ezreal, so I'm going to hold off on this. The belt is not bad, especially if I'm playing into Sentinels, because the belt would mean that I could look to maybe make a Warmogs, and that's a really, really good item if you're trying to play Sentinels, which is the direction I'm trying to go in this game. Anyway, I also get beaten pretty badly by this person's board, Hot Dog. I was like, wow, this person just absolutely ran me over. That was not great. Good news is I do have Heartsteel in, so that's going to give me some additional hearts via Heartsteel trait, so it's not as bad as it might seem. All right, now it's been 7 rounds since the start of the game, so I'm going to get a support training dummy with a support item on it. And it has a Zephyr on board. I was like, oh, Zephyr. I love Zephyr, one of my favorite items. I'm still sad that this was taken out of the game. Kind of sad that I don't. You can't still make Zephyr anymore. Yeah, it used to be the what was it? The Cloak plus Belt? Yeah, Cloak plus Belt, which is now the Evan Shroud. I could make an Evan Shroud right now, but I would prefer to have like real tank items. It's kind of like an off tank item, like a support tank item. I also have the Last Whisper, so there's less of a need to build that item because I already have Armor Shred from the Last Whisper. In any case, though, this is great. Now I'm going to have to get back in the habit of not being lazy. I have to try to scout and try to position my Shroud so that it will hit people. I actually do have it positioned in this round to try to hit someone. There was a carry on one of the boards that was in dead center. I think someone had an Ahri that was in the dead center of the board. I was trying to get the Zephyr on that, but I ended up hitting someone else who was weaker and didn't end up mattering. Didn't really need the Zephyr that round. One additional thing that Zephyr gives is it does give 8% attack speed to the team, which is a minor benefit, but still nice. Okay, so we have another carousel here. I am going to be 3rd pick on this carousel. There's 3 spatulas, which I really don't like seeing. That's going to allow some people to power up their boards. I'm unlikely to be able to get one of these spatulas. But the one good thing about the spatulas being there is it does mean that I'm going to get the chance to grab this. I guess I could have had a spatula. The 3rd one I might have been able to get, but there was something I wanted more than a spatula here, and that was the Caitlyn with a cloak. This is going to do 2 things for me. It's going to allow me to make a Dragon's Claw on Tahm Kench, just another fantastic item. Really, really good tank item, the double cloak, and also puts a Caitlyn in play as well. So now I don't have to play, instead of playing the Riven for 8-bit, I can play the Caitlyn for 8-bit instead. I'm actually going to put that in right now. So Kate puts 8-bit trade in play with Garen, and then rapid fire trait in with the Aphelios. And that does remove big shot trait for the Ezreal, but I can just put the Kai'Sa back in when I level up. And yeah, so this is looking pretty good. Look at our traits: 3 Heartsteel, 2 8-bit, 2 Bruiser, 2 Rapid Fire, 2 Sentinel. The Tom is super tanky. I was trying to position for, by the way, I was trying to position for that Jax board. There is someone who has the playing through Jax. I think they have the Jax 3-star at this point. I can't quite remember. So I was trying to Zephyr out that unit. It's either Jax 3-star or like a very well itemized Jax 2-star. So yeah, that was great. As I said, I got a very, very good tank item for Tahm Kench to build out my front line, and a Kate that's going to be really nice. She makes the 8-bit synergy, and she also as I said, puts rapid fire trait in play. And she's just going to be secondary carry. So Ezreal's going to be the main carry, Kate's going to be the secondary carry. And we're going to play the two of them as my carries behind this big, hopefully 6 Sentinel front line that I'm building towards. As I said, I don't have it yet, but I'm trying to build in that direction. All right, so we're looking pretty good here. I haven't really been seeing that many Sentinel units, but thankfully Tom has just continued to be fantastic for me. Alrighty, so again, now we are able to get big shot back in. There is the Jax. Okay, it's not 3-star yet, although they're clearly going in that direction, but a very well itemized Jax. They're definitely rolling for it. They're also rolling their way down to 0 gold, which is probably a mistake. This early in the game, you don't want to roll down to 0 gold. Plus, that board still has a decent amount of health. I don't think they have to just go all in on the Jax yet. I think they could preserve health a little bit longer. But in any case, I'm going to try to Zephyr the Jax. Do I get the Zephyr? Yes, I do. Long-term TFT habits. People are no longer, because Zephyr and like Shroud of Stillness are no longer in the game as normal items, people no longer scout for them. So you can definitely hit their carries, at least up until the late game when people start scouting a bit more. So I was trying to position to hit the Jax. I do hit the Jax. Pretty sure I lose this round without the Zephyr, but the Zephyr cheese going to allow me to win this round thanks to taking that Jax out of the fight for the first, 6 seconds, 7 seconds. And they're going to lose a fight that they really probably did not want to lose, or really probably should not have lost. And that's going to get me out to a 3-match win streak. And I'm even going to get a little mini Heartsteel cash out here for a bit of extra econ, which is going to be fantastic. So what do I get? Oh, I get another item. Cool. That's great. Just another item. And it's a tank item, which is really good. I want to keep building tank items with my setup because, as I said, I'm going to build out a super tanky front line, and then I just need to itemize Kate and Ez behind that. All right. So a couple different possibilities here. Yeah, I could make I don't want to make another Sunfire, but I've got half of a Warmogs. I also have that, that heart item. Oh, by the way, I also get a champion duplicator here. I can't remember the exact name. And, I'm going to get another belt. That's fantastic. So I have the items. Well, by the way, here there's a Misfortune, so we can replace the Kai'Sa with that, and that's just a better unit. Happy to make that replacement. And I'm going to go ahead and look to make some items here. So I need to put these on another unit. Problem is I haven't really found another good Sentinel yet. So I was like, I guess I'll put these on Garen, make Garen the secondary tank. I do have 2 out of 3 Garens. I'd rather put it on Garen than K'Sante. So we'll make Warmogs, and we'll make Gargoyle Stoneplate. And hopefully I can find like a Blitzcrank and transfer these items to a Blitzcrank later on. The glove and the rod, I don't quite know what I'm going to do with just yet, but we'll try to figure out something. In a worst case scenario, maybe I can make a Thief's Glove. By the way, I get a decent, I was not scouting that round, but I do manage to get a decent Zephyr all the same. I took out that person's Nico, who was their big frontliner, although the Redemption probably should be on like an off tank, not on the main tank, but it's not bad. Redemption on the main tank's not terrible by any means. Anyway, Mogul's Mail putting in some work, but this board just does not have enough damage to get through my front line. Tom continues to be absolutely amazing, and we're going to cut through the Bard. Looks like they're on 7 Bards, but they might run out of health before they're able to hit the Bard. The Bard 3-star. Also, I'm not sure the Bard 3-star really does that much for them here either. They need a Spear of Shojin so that unit will cast more often. Just not casting enough right now. They probably should just slam the Giant Slayer on Bard. Even though it's not a great item on Bard, it's, they're kind of dying right there. All right, time for our third and final augment. It's another gold augment. I was thinking about the Edge of Night. I don't think that would be bad, just because this gives the extra attack speed. But I don't like taking this unless you can make 2 Edge of Nights. And Edge of Night really is better on a melee unit. It's not really the thing you want on a backline carry. It's just not as good. Bigger Shot also worth thinking about, but I'm not really going to play more than just Ezreal and 1 other Big Shot. You kind of want that if you're going to play like 4 Big Shots, and I'm not planning on doing that right now. So I end up taking the Harm Assist, which is also going to be good here because I have not itemized any healing on my carries. I have no sources of healing. It's not like there's a I don't know, Disco Ball that's going to heal us or a Nami that's going to heal my carries. This will just be nice because it'll mean that they'll be able to heal up from chip damage, also be good against potential Akalis. I can see a couple people are playing KDA and they're going to have Akalis. Yeah, this person has an Akali. So this is going to be nice just to heal off that chip damage. I was going for a different team, but I ended up getting the Vex, which is the main carry on this person's team anyway. So I was going for a different board that had a carry in the back right corner, but I get the Vex and pretty happy with that. So yeah, the Vex is going to be out of the fight for a while, and by the time they come down, looks like we've got this well under control. Akali's still dashing around, but eventually we'll get her. Kate looks like Kate got the Akali with her ult. And so yeah, that person's going to get knocked down to just 25 HP, and we're still just kind of cruising here. So in very good shape. As I said, we have, oh, by the way, here we go, Sentinel Mordekaiser, perfect. This is what I'm looking for. So we're just going to make that very smooth transition from the Tahm Kench, who was awesome throughout the early game, into a Mordekaiser. And by the way, I already have 4 Mordekaisers, so it's not inconceivable that I could look to play, that I could look to 3-star this unit. It is possible. So really good tank items there, and then hopefully we can find a Blitz, and then we'll be able to transfer items off Garen onto Blitzcrank, and Blitz will be our other tank with the Gargoyles plus Warmogs. So we already have really good tanky frontline. Now I really need to do better with my carries. Oh, by the way, here's the other person who is really strong. This is the person, the only person I've lost a round. No, I lost 2 rounds. The first person I lost to, Tinny Devil, who I thought had built the best board. They're actually trying to play the same comp as me. If you can see, they have a Kate back there and an Ezreal, and then they're building behind Sentinels for the front line. But they've itemized Kate, whereas I've itemized Ezreal. That's just because I found the Ezreal earlier on. Given a choice, I would probably prefer to itemize the Ezreal. Kate is just hard to use as your main carry. She's really like an off carry. And oh, by the way, this fight is very close. Mordekaiser just barely wins that one. So even though I got the Zephyr on the Kate to take her out of the fight for a little bit, still a super close fight. All right. I am last pick because I've been win streaking. I've been able to preserve a lot of health. So I would like to get something for Ezreal here. I'm looking at the options. I would like the glove with the Kate. That would get me 2 out of 3 Kates, and then I could just Thief's Glove the Caitlyn. But that's not going to be a possibility as well. Sword would also be good here. Then I could always make a sword item on Ezreal. So I'm going to go for the sword here. But as I go for it, that person, Tinny Devil, turns to deny it, so I'll fall back on the Tear. Tear, in a worst case, could be a Hand of Justice, which would not be what I'm looking for, but would not be terrible. Anyway, now I'm going to roll here on level, level 8, try to build out my board. I'm really looking to 2-star some of my backline units. I've already run out of bench space, though. So let's go ahead and do that. The set was a possibility because I could try to go up to 5 Heartsteel, but I'm not really going to do that. There's a Blitzcrank, so we definitely want that. So I need to put the Blitz on the board. Now, if I can find a replacement Garen, I would sell the Garen and transfer items. And I really would like to get up to 6 Sentinel here if possible. I could do that by playing the Echo, but then I would have to take out one of my backline units. So like one of these units would have to come out. I do also have the Champion Duplicator. So by the way, I'm on 7 Mordekaisers with the Champion Duplicator, and he has very good tank items. So I'm not actually that far off from having the 3-star Mordekaiser. That would be my preference, find 2 more Mords and then just build it for a 3-star Mordekaiser. But the biggest issue, my front line is awesome, but I need more damage. I am kind of lacking in the damage department, so I would really like to find more Ezreals and more Caitlyn's. I'm not seeing either unit, which is a little bit unfortunate, so I think I do need to roll a bit more here. But like I said, I'd also like to get that Sentinel in. Here's the Garen. By the way, I could sell the Garen and transfer items over to the Blitzcrank, although if I remember correctly, I did not see this. There we go, 2-star Echo, so that's got to go on the board. I have to play this unit. It's too good. So something has to come out. I don't want the Heartsteel to come out, so it's either got to be MF or Caitlyn, and it's a hard call to say which one of them comes out. So anyway, we are up to the 6 Sentinels. So I kept in the Kate because I wanted 8-bit to continue stacking. That's kind of more of a long-term possibility there. And oh, here we go, MF 2-star and 2 Blitzes. Okay, so since I had MF 2-star, Kate now needs to come out and MF needs to go back in. That's also going to be 2-star Blitz, so I really wish I had picked up that Garen so I could sell and replace the items. I think I just didn't see that at the time. All right, we're up against the Jax board here. Or is this the... Wait a minute. No, this is a KDA board. That's an Akali over there. So yeah, as I said, I had the 6 Sentinel in, so my front line lasts forever. I'm not sure that I have enough damage. I really need like a 2-star Ezreal. or a 2-star Kate or something. This board just is not doing enough damage right now. So yeah, we're really tanky, but we need to fix our damage problem. You can see the fight lasts into overtime, but yeah, we just need a little bit more damage setup. And that's before I had the 2-star Blitz as well. All right, so 2-star Blitz goes, 2-star Aphelios. Now I need to put the MF in because Misfortune, as I said. And yes, I need to get the Blitzcrank up on the... Need to get those items over to Blitzcrank, but I have to find another Garen for that. And so yeah, MF now has to go in. That's probably better anyway because we're playing through the Ezreal. But I still just have the one Ezreal and the one Kate, so I'm a little disappointed I didn't see more of those units, but it is what it is. Now we have to finish itemizing our units here, so we have to figure out what we're going to do with these remaining items. There's another glove, so I could just look to Thief's Glove somebody. That would actually be pretty good here. And then I'm going to get my component amp. I'll get another Echo, who I don't need, so I'll look to sell that. There's another Kate, so that's 2 out of 3 Kates. And out of these options, I want the sword. I'm going to go ahead and look to make a Spear of Shojin for the Ezreal. Then we're going to Thief's Glove the Misfortune, so she'll roll items. There's the Kate. We'll pick that up. By the way, more Blitzcranks, but I don't know that I have the gold for this. I really need to find another Ezreal. So I have one more item. I was like, all right, well, I guess the last item is Ionic Spark. I'm not sure that that's particularly good in this situation. Ionic Spark would be good if we're doing magic damage, but we're all physical. So that doesn't really do anything, but it's just what I had the leftover item components for. Anyway, here's another board playing Ahri and Akali. Again, you can see how popular KDA is. It's like half the lobby is running KDA. It's super duper popular. That's why I stayed away from that in this game. I didn't really have the items to play that in this game, but I was also just happy to stay away from that in general. Still, our front line is super duper tanky, so we last in these fights forever, and we can just do enough damage to kill the enemy team. That's what we need. Yeah, Ez is getting off some decent ults, but like there's Lifesteal on the Akali, and there's the Gunblade on the Ahri. So they're both healing, which means if we don't have damage, we're never going to kill them. So at this point, I was like, all right, I guess I need to roll a little bit more because I need like a 2-star Ezreal here. So we already have 2-star MF. We don't need that. There's a Kayn. I guess I could play Kayn, but I don't have the items to play Kayn. Like, what would Kayn do in this board with no items? Not much. So we're going to keep rolling here. All these Blitzcranks are insane that there's so many Blitzes. Okay, 2-star Cassante. That's not going to do much. Come on, can I just find like one more Kate or one more Ezreal? I guess I could... champion duplicate the Kate, but I don't have items for her at the moment, so I'm not sure that would do much. All right, there's Ezreal. Okay, so what we could have done is we could have, I could have sold the Ez, transferred his items over to Kate, and used the champion duplicator on the Caitlyn, but that wasn't really what I was looking for. I wanted the Ezreal. The Ezreal is really the unit I'm playing through right now, so we have to burn the champion duplicator, but it's 100% the right call. We needed more damage. Now that we've got the damage, we're going to be so much stronger. Look at that Ezreal ult. Just shreds the back line with that. By the way, this is the other person, Tinny Devil, I've been mentioning, has exactly the same items on his Ezreal as I do. But it looks like my front line's a little bit stronger over there. Anyway, while we have a second here, let's go ahead and cover what the 6 Sentinel actually does, just because it's worth mentioning. Sentinel's a trait that gives armor and magic resistance. The formal description just says your team gains armor and magic resistance. Sentinels gain double. So your whole team gets a benefit, and then Sentinels get double that. I am playing 6 Sentinels right now. That's 60 armor, 60 magic resistance. So everybody gets that, and then Sentinels get double that. So they get 120 armor, 120 magic resistance. This means that if you don't have like armor shred or magic resistance shred, you just don't deal damage to this board. You really need some kind of shred on your comp. So if you don't have Last Whisper, you don't have like a Static Shiv or Ionic Spark or something, you just don't really do damage to this board. And by the way, here I'm able to get another good Shroud. Now that I have my board finished, I can go back to scouting. Would have liked to have scouted those rounds earlier, but just I had too much fiddling I had to do with my board. So I had to leave that off for a little bit. But I'm able to get the Shroud, or the Zephyr on the Jinx. Yeah, look at that. That Ezreal ult takes out half of Jinx's health. Looks like she does have some healing on her setup, though. So that's good. But this board does not appear to have any armor shred. I guess they had the Evan Shroud for the... Okay, they do have a little bit. They had the Evan Shroud up there on the front line. But Jinx did not have any. And yeah, so we're going to be able to win that round, knock them down to 5 HP. A couple people win streaking right now. And it's time for another carousel. So there's some interesting options here. There's a Jazz Spatula. That looks pretty good there. Be happy to take that just so I can get Jazz trait in play. That way I don't have to play like a Bard or something. I would not mind playing Lucian in the late game if I can find him. But I have to probably get to level 9. It's not like any of these other items are going to do that much for me anyway. Like I don't need a Bloodthirster. The Evan Shroud would not be terrible with this setup, but I do have a Last Whisperer, so I do have some armor shred. So I think the Jazz emblem's definitely better here. All right, there's another Garen. That allows me to sell the Garen and transfer these items over. I have hit 2-star Caitlyn, so I really want to get her on the board too. But I didn't want to drop the... and by the way, we can actually make a Protector's Vow, so we'll go ahead and make the Protector's Vow. There we go. And make the Gargoyle Stoneplate. That's looking pretty good. So we'll definitely play the Kate. And since I just got a cash out for Heartsteel, it's like, do I want to play Heartsteel for another cash out, or do I want to play the Kate? I was like, I think I just want to play the Kate, honestly. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then I have this leftover Ionic Spark that doesn't really do anything. But I'll play that. And then we'll go to level 9, and we'll put Aphelios back in. That gives us Heartsteel and true damage. The main reason why I want that is it'll just get me up to 6 traits. And that'll give me more value for Jazz. Jazz 2 with 4 traits, not really doing all that much, but you know, it's not bad. It does help cap out our board. And if we can find Lucian, we can get up to 3 Jazz, which will be a little bit better. So not like there was much else I wanted on that carousel anyway. So anyway, we're up against one of the win streaking boards. This is one of those KDA boards, but looks like we've got this under control. The Akali was running around in our back lines. Ezreal having the Harm Assist augment to heal really helped there. Also, don't forget the Sentinel gives him 60 armor, 60 MR, so that means he also survives a little bit longer. And we need, looks like we can probably get to level 9 after the minion round. We probably have enough to get there. So now we're back to late game, definitely scouting time. Got to watch these other boards. There's someone who is playing the, they have a 2-star Jhin, and that looks pretty strong, so I definitely want to try to get that out of the bullfight. Yeah, that person, Tinny Devil, has been the strongest person in the lobby for most of the game. They have a 2-star Jhin, and they're currently transitioning their board, so it's actually a really good round to hit them. They're in the process of moving units around. There we go. They look like they're going to itemize the Jhin, but what's this? Jhin goes up in the air. Thank you, Zephyr. So taking Jhin out of the fight for a little while is great. It's just Jin's a ramping unit. He scales up over time with his turrets. And if you can take him out of the fight for, 6 seconds or whatever, that just means it's going to take so long. I mean, he doesn't get his 4 turrets down until, about 15 or 16 seconds into the fight. And so by the time he starts pumping out that damage, the fight's almost over already. I mean, it's still close. Look at that. Still fairly close fight. Although I guess I did have all my carries alive. But, yeah, the Zephyr making a huge difference right there. Gotta love those Zephyrs. Zephyr. One of my favorite items. Zephyr and Shroud of Stillness. JDP El Grillo had said, he said he's not sure he's a Masters player anymore because he can no longer Zephyr and Shroud cheese people. Not sure if that's true, but we definitely did get a lot of value out of those Shrouds. All right, anyway, so we're going to look to go to level 9 after this and see if we can get another good item. I'd definitely like to get some items for Kate if possible. My front line's tanky enough at this point. By the way, that gold drop is fantastic. I just want more gold to get to 9 faster. Looks like we will have enough gold to get there. So, all right, we can go ahead and level to level 9. There we go, just enough to do that. Put the Aphelios back in. Now we're back up to 6 traits. And we definitely need to pull our artifact. So let's see what we can get there. There's a Sona, which is kind of interesting, but I don't think I have room for Sona. There's a Lucian, though. Okay. And hey, there's a Thief's Glove here. Awesome. None of those other items would have been very good for me. I guess I could put another tank item on the front line, but Thief's Glove is perfect. Now Kate's going to roll items. And look, she actually rolls some really good items here. All right, I'm trying to position my Zephyr to hit an Ahri in the back lines. This person did notice that I had the... Zephyr and tried to move, but they actually still get hit anyway. I actually still got hit anyway. I'm not exactly sure how that works out, but the fact that, again, Ahri, another scaling, ramping unit, gets taken out of the fight for a few seconds is just absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, Ahri does not have enough time to cut through the front line. She's really getting stuck on the Blitzcrank anyway, and so Ez just snipes her, and that's a pretty easy win. Akali's the last unit alive, but once everything else is dead, not much she can do. I'm going to sell the extra Garen and use the gold I picked up to play Lucian. So we don't care about Heartsteel at this point in time in the game. We'll drop the Heartsteel for Lucian. Lucian's an infinitely better unit than Aphelios. Put that in. And hey, there's another Lucian. And there's only one other person in the lobby left. It's yet another one of these Akali and Ahri players. As I said, there's just so many people playing this in this lobby. But that did mean I was pretty uncontested. I guess the one other person, Tinny Devil, was contesting me to some extent. But in any case, yeah, this person's still alive. We're going to try to hit our Zephyr once again. But with Lucian in there as well, 6 Sentinel, 3 Jazz, 2 8-bit, 2 Big Shot, 2 Rapid Fire. By the way, 8-bit's almost fully stacked up. Yeah, they did manage to dodge the Zephyr. So that's, that is what it is. But taking Sona out of the fight is not terrible either. Delaying when Sona gets that cast off, not awful. So we still managed to get something pretty decent. And this fight's going really well. Looks like the Mordekaiser is still doing just fine. And so even though Ahri is the last one alive, yeah, it looks like what we have is just better in this fight. So we're going to win. and that end the match on a nice win streak. And the carries in the back lines just never really threatened. So this was a game where everything came together really, really nicely. I was able to build that 6 Sentinel front line. I had very good tank items. The Blitzcrank and the Mordekaiser together were super strong. I'm a little disappointed I didn't get any closer to Mordekaiser 3-star. I got to the 6 Mordekaisers really fast and then didn't see any more of them. But then Ezreal, Kate were really good back there. The MF with the Thief's Glove chipped in some good additional damage and just felt like a very smooth game. Wasn't really in trouble. The only thing that was the only little blip was not hitting the Ezreal 2-star. Unfortunately, I had the Champion Duplicator on hand for that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, hope you're having a great week. Take care, folks, and I'll see you again soon.